And I think my question is to all of our panelists. And Dr. Salih, you brought up the need for an industry to see examples from other industries they can learn from while they transform digitally. So what, in your opinion, are the industries that construction can learn from so they can find best practices in digital transformation?
Sure. So if we look at which companies are going totally digital, we look at platform business. So let's look at Uber, Airbnb, Netflix, iOS, Android iOS or Apple iOS. These are platform businesses. Platform businesses, what they do, they made a change in the economy. So we, in normal, let's say, business or normal industry, we call it the pipeline industry. So we create a product through an idea and into production, and then we sell it to the market. And the platform is not part of this process. There is a supplier, and there is a demand, and a user at the other end. So we all know the economies of scale. When we develop product, we sell at volume, then we have lower cost. But in the platform business, there's a new economy term which is demand of scale. So if I have one app in the iOS, for example, and I have like 10 users, this means that I might need another provider to develop another app, and then I have like 100 users, and then the demand will create more supply, and this is a new introduction in the economy. So in the construction business, if we can make use of these concepts and develop platforms that can make everybody, there's another term coming on, is collaboration, co-creation, co-consumption, and co-production. So clients, contractors, consultants can work together instead of competing, work together to produce new projects.
Thank you, Dr. Salih. Would anybody else like to go ahead, Patrick?
Thanks for that opportunity. Yeah, we're just coming to the end of a project now just outside Riyadh, which is quite a highly automated prefabrication factory that does full modular construction. And as part of the gestation of that project over the last few years, the industry we learned a lot from was the automotive industry in terms of the production. I can't say we learned anything from the construction industry. I'll be very honest. And in fact, in many of the factories that I've been involved in, the fewer actual people who work in the construction industry, the better. And that includes me. But the point is, the aviation industry, the automotive industry, in terms of the logistics and the sub-assemblies and the just-in-time and the technology that glues it all together, that's something that we're very inspired by. And in this project in Riyadh, we were highly influenced by as well.
Thank you, Patrick. I think there was a question in the audience somewhere.
That's okay. So what I would like to understand is, first of all, what would be the impact on cost of developing such project using these kind of technologies? So that's one element. The other element, the flexibility in the future to basically modify these buildings. How flexible is modification to these pre-constructed buildings?
That's a very, very good question, and thanks for that. Well, just first off, the issue on cost. Our target and our competition is not other modular construction. No, I'm not a manufacturer. We're just specialist consulting engineers for everything modular. But those that are in that business, their competition is traditional construction. That's the market, that's the baseline, that's what everybody knows best. So the strategy basically is for them to go in maybe just below and be 50% quicker. And then who can argue with the value proposition of that? If the quality is better, the time is quicker, and you are either cost neutral or slightly below, then that should hit that on the head. As far as the flexibility of design, manufacturing is concerned, the equipment and before actually going to market to purchase either bespoke or standardized equipment for your manufacturer, whether depending on the level of automation that's involved, you'll go through a series of parameters where 80% to 90% of the market value is what your equipment will manufacture. The cost of going outside that extra 10%, so you cover 100% of the market, is just not worth the cost. It's just hugely expensive compared to the time that you use it. And equipment, machinery, robotics, automation doesn't know what it's going to do next. So it can change its design, it can change its functionality, it can produce a different module every single run without any prompting, unlike if they're human counterparts. So the flexibility, the higher up the automation scale you go, the more it enhances the flexibility for changing designs. I hope that answers that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Very interesting. Question for Dr. Ahmad. The STC building is obviously very complex. You modeled it from triangles. Then you mentioned you exported it into Revit. Are we at a stage now in the industry where the consultants are willing to share their BIM models and that they're no longer concerned about liability issues? Because from the client perspective, it's been very difficult to get consultants to hand over their BIM models. Thank you.
Well, sharing BIM models, it depends, of course, on, it's a client proprietary at the end. So I think this is one of the issues that need discussion between clients, consultants, and contractors. And the thing that I was talking about a few minutes ago, we're talking about the new era of co-creation, co-production, and collaboration. So if we keep these BIM models as a proprietary for a client, and the client say, I'll not give them to the contractor to build on them, then this means that the contractor will put more effort, will price, let's say, the project more, while if these are available and done by the consultant, it can be given to the client, to the contractor, and then it means that less cost to the client. So if it is just about justifiable, the discussion can happen in a positive way where, yes, it can be available later on.
That's a great question. I think we're seeing this in the US as well, where BIM is moving from a services business to a data business, and everybody needs access to that data. So absolutely, I think, as an industry, as we get there.
A general question to the panel. What is happening to the fee market? Because it appears certain consultants are in a position almost to dominate the marketplace now in terms of fees. So are fees going up to pay for all this investment in digital technology, or is it coming down because of economies of scale? Thank you.
So as an owner or a client, I can definitely say that, yes, there is a trend to increase cost when there is more, let's say, more demanding client in terms of digital and BIM and all that. But if you think about it, as a client, we wouldn't necessarily care, right? We're giving you a certain scope with certain fixed price, and you have to deliver it. We don't care how. But again, as an operator, owner-operator, in our particular case, it's slightly different. We do care how things are being done during design and how they will be later on handed over to add value to construction, and then eventually what data we will get as a client and how easy will that, make our life in terms of transferring from CapEx to OpEx. So yes, we do see some opportunists, but generally, it's, I think in most of the design companies, it's business as usual. So I don't think there is extra cost involved anymore. It's just that there are some opportunities to make money.
Thanks for that. I know we've run out of time, so if you could do something real quick.
There's just a small addition, I think, on a general note to this question and the one before. I think there's a ripple effect that goes on, right? So everyone's digital, that's the rock hitting the water. But then if you look at how this should kind of propagate through any organization or the market itself, I think there should be a legal discussion as well on creating the form of contracts today. So, I mean, in an academic world, you'll find people studying integrated project delivery, which changes the whole relationship between everyone involved and the stakeholders, which is when shifts the fees between CapEx and OpEx in terms of, what the owner would be wanting. But on a general note as a whole, I think it's still, from a business point of view, has a better ROI in the long run downstream, even if you kind of exceeded at the beginning, but you're saving on as you go. So I think that from a consultant perspective, the way we see it.
If I may add just a quick note also confirming what Mohammed was saying. If we look at consultants, let us say, and 10 years ago, for example, how our fees as consultant compared to today's fees percentages are way less than 10 years. While 10 years ago, we were working on AutoCAD, no technology, nothing. But today, we do have a lot of technology, we do have a lot of investment, but many of the big consultants, let's say, created this and kept it within their DNA. So it's part of the business as usual, as Arsen said. And at this level, the competition even, it's coming very high at this level. And then the production using technology is becoming very effective. And why we're talking about automation here, we're talking about reducing resources. Or let us say, there's a scarce resources in the market because of what's happening in the boom right now. We're all suffering from this as clients and as consultants. So doing a lot of automation means that you reduce the cost, you'll be more competitive. So the equation is very complex, to be honest.
Thank you very much to our panelists.
Yeah, let's go. Thank you.